All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ole Miss After Dark. I'm joined here, just like I have been the last couple of Tuesdays, with my main man, Brian Baldwin from the Miss 98 Scoreboard Show. Brian, how you doing today, bud?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. This is better than that Mitchie album book, Tuesdays with Maury. This is way better than that. I promise you. We might not win any awards, but better time to be had. I've been good.
That's right.
How have you been?
Yeah. Oh man, not too bad. I get asked all the time, hey man, when's the last time you saw Brian? When's the last time you hung out with Brian? I'm like, man, he's always on the go all the time. He's always going somewhere. And sure enough, we log in today and you're at a different spot than you have been the previous couple of weeks, right? Like you're somewhere new every time I talk to you.
Absolutely. I'm actually home, which is wild. I've been
that
all
is
over
wild.
the road. Yeah, I've been in California. Next week I'll be in Utah. We root for Utah. But we'll have to a little Celtic pride for you there. But I'll be on the road to Utah in a few weeks. I'll be in Vegas, and we'll have to record these from there. But hey, man, I'm down with that.
That's right. Well, look, we're going to kick this show off with a little bit of sombering news, right? The state of Mississippi lost a true legend yesterday on Monday, depending on when you're listening to this. But on Monday, the state of Mississippi lost James Earl Jones, a Mississippi native. Everybody knows him by his voice, right? And he's popular for, being the voice of Darth Vader and Mustafa and all of these different roles that he's had. Born in Arkabutla, Mississippi. I think I said that right, maybe?
I used to live near there. That's near Coldwater in Tate County. And I used to live not far from Arkabutla Lake when my dad was the girls basketball coach at Coldwater in the late 70s and early 80s. Yeah, I know all about Arkabutla. Yeah. It was a fun place. It was the place people went, and then people started going to Sardis. You know what I mean? And Enid. And Arkabutla kind of, dried up as a tourist attraction in the area. But Arkabutla. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I actually didn't know that about you. I thought I knew a little bit of everything about you, and you still surprised me all these years later and tell me something I don't know.
Stick around for another 20 years as friends. You never know. You never know.
God, I hope I'm around another 20 years. We're starting to push it when you start talking about 20, though.
Dude, our science has come a long way. You know what I mean? Like, we'll be able to figure this out. Like, your lungs and my obesity, like in another 2 to 3 years, there'll be a real pill for that. I mean, there's a shot for mine. I'm just, for yours. For yours, they got those Zens. So that could be a thing,
Nah, man, you know me, I ain't into all that, dude. I'm an old school kind of guy, right? I need it the old fashioned way, right?
I got you.
But yeah, James Earl Jones, Mississippi native. It's crazy to think about all of the Mississippi legends, for the lack of a better word, that we've had in the past. Him, Morgan Freeman obviously comes to a lot of Ole Miss basketball games, right? Probably two of the more iconic voices there ever have been. Immediately when you hear those two, both of those guys are Mississippi guys. But just kind of remembering James here, I felt like we had to do something for him. Had to give a little respectful shout out. He was such a big part of people's lives growing up, not only Mississippi but all across the country. But we can claim him as one of our own.
What was your favorite James Earl Jones film?
See, that's a good one. So it's the two that I keep thinking of with him is obviously The Lion King as Mustafa, right? That hit everybody the first time they've ever seen it. And since then, surely it's hit everybody even older in life, right? When you think about that scene with Simba lying next to him, trying to shake and wake up his dad, But then the Sandlot as well, because I was a huge Sandlot guy, still am. Actually showed it to my son Volt about a year ago, and now he loves the Sandlot. He's all over it. And look, dude, James Earl Jones can raise a pretty damn mean dog. He'll eat the shit out of some baseballs.
Yeah. Hey, it's a shame that ball took out his eyesight.
Yeah, it really is, because he used to crush the ball. And who was his favorite teammate there, you think?
You mean George?
Yep, there he is.
Babe Ruth, yeah. I do an okay James Earl Jones impression. Most folks think you would probably go with Star Wars, like, Luke, I am your father or something. but I'm more of a Field of Dreams guy. It's more of like a there will always be baseball, Ray, or Moonlight Graham.
That is so spot on. That is so good.
I know, man. It'll come across better in the podcast.
Yeah.
They won't see me, but they'll hear James Earl Jones. My favorite James Earl Jones film, kind of an obscure one, but really cool. It's called Bingo Long's Traveling All-Stars. And it had a bunch of really iconic black actors in it. It had Richard Pryor. Billy D. Williams was the star. It had a bunch of those guys, and they formed a traveling kind of barnstorming baseball team. And they played all these, really good squads all over the place. They faced the adversity of the times that the film was set in. I think maybe the 30s and 40s, but it was a really fun film. And he was like the Babe Ruth of that film. He was a big guy, kind of showed up late to games, kind of drunk, shirt and jersey half unbuttoned, but he'd step in the box and drop it out of the park. And that was always a fun,
my man.
It was a fun one there. But it was shout out to him. A fun fact about James Earl Jones, that he overcame a huge stutter. So as a child, he had a pretty debilitating speech impediment. And he was a big advocate for the National Society of Friends Who Stutter, National Stuttering Foundation, things like that. So pretty impressive that one of the more iconic voices of our times at one time was scared to talk due to his voice or lack thereof.
Yeah. That's wild. I actually didn't know that at all. I am a little surprised. I thought for sure you were going to be going to Coming to America for your favorite James Earl Jones role there.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite films. You know what I mean? But that was a soft tosser. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I could have gone with any of that. And there's a lot of quotes from that film that I could pull out for you. But I host a high school sports show, and I don't want to get canceled. But yes, there's a lot of them from that film that I could really, really pull off that are good. We'll save those for later.
Yeah. You went into went and found a deep track for James. That's what you do, man. You do your digging, you pull out stuff that people ain't never heard of before. So y'all need to go check out that film. Apparently, I need to as well because I've never seen it. You've taught me something here, so I need to look into that.
It's something good you'd enjoy, and I'm not sure if it's family friendly. It's got Richard Pryor in it, so I would venture to say not. But make sure you watch it. You'd have a good time. Yeah,
it sounds like it's absolutely DIDS friendly though, so I'm going to dive right into that. All right, so let's go ahead and switch gears here. Why don't you let everybody know where the Miss 98 Scoreboard Show is going to be heading this week? Y'all were in Pontotoc last weekend. Right. Where are y'all heading this Friday night?
So this Friday night, we're headed down Highway 45 towards Monroe County. We're going to Hamilton High School, where Hamilton is hosting Boonville. And this is something that doesn't happen often. For a while, Hamilton was a small 1A school. Now they're 2A. And in the past, half decade, they have really, really ascended up the football ranks. You know what I mean? As they've gone from 1A to 2A. They got away from Biggersville, even though they beat Biggersville last week in kind of a revenge game. But it's one of those things like, we're excited to go down there because it doesn't happen. And they really appreciate the big school coming to town. Boonville, a traditional power in our area, has had, tons of state championships under Coach Drury in the past. And, they're always a perennial power in the 3A North. So it's an interesting game for us to go check out, something different than we normally would do because of the matchup. We always enjoy, catching up with old friends. We're going to go, a good buddy of mine, Dallas Flippo, is the baseball coach and one of the administrators in athletics over there. So he'll take care of us, and it'll be a fun week. There's a lot of, good matchups in our area, which there always are. One that I've got my eyeball on is 2-0 North Pontotoc at Corinth. Corinth's a good team.
Oh, yeah.
They lost to a good New Albany squad last week, so that'll be a good one. I'm also interested in seeing if Lake Cormorant will bounce back. They've got a lot of players, and they face a scrappy North Panola squad, traditionally pretty good out of the Como area. And then, of course, Tupelo heads back up to DeSoto County, and they take on Hernando. Hernando's not real good. Tupelo should do their thing, take care of business early. They took care of South Haven last week. South Haven's probably a little bit of a notch above Hernando talent-wise this year. So Tupelo, get in there, take care of business early, get out with a victory, keep everybody healthy. Itawamba goes to Lafayette. Lafayette is 0-2. Now, I can't remember, too many years where Lafayette's been 0-2, but they're 0-2 this year, and they hosted Itawamba and Bryson Walters, the Ole Miss committed linebacker. Houston travels to Northside over in the Delta, and that's Shelby High School. Speaking of Morgan Freeman, he graduated, I think, from Shelby High School over in the Delta. But after they've done some moving around and consolidated small schools in that district, now they host Houston. And Northside's got a really good football program, so that'll be a big test for our friends down there, Coach Flowers and Coach Dampier and crew. So, that's just something to kind of keep your eye on in our area. There's always a pretty good local matchup going on with Kansas City and Aberdeen. Two teams have played each other for a long time. Baldwin plays at Water Valley. Baldwin's really good this year. New Albany has a bye week this week. So, they'll have a week to kind of recoup and get fresh. They're really talented as well. Yeah. It's a big week for the area before they start getting into the thick of district play. A big matchup over in Tate County, not too far from where I used to live and where James Earl Jones was born. Senatobia hosts Independence, and that's been a long time rivalry. Those schools have been kind of powers in their own classes over time. For a long time, Independence would finish second to Senatobia in that district, and they would meet up in the playoffs. And, that'll be a fun one to check out and keep on your radar as well. And then I guess one of the other games in our area that I like to keep an eye on, I always like to keep an eye on the the MAIS, used to be the MPSA. JA plays Prep. There's always some really good Division I level players there. And MRA hosts Madison St. Joe. Coach Herbert Davis' squad and them played Pulaski Academy out of Little Rock last week and took a pretty big loss for the second year in a row. So they'll be looking to bounce back against Madison St. Joe. So that's some games of note with, players that we like to keep an eye on that, have gauged interest from Ole Miss and stuff like that. Whenever you hear those schools named, there are people on the radar to keep an eye out on in the box scores. It'll be interesting to see how some of these names start to shake out. West Point's 0-2. They lost, of course, to Louisville week 1 and then lost to Starkville last week in a long-time rivalry game. And, they could be the best 0-2 team in the entire United States. They're just that talented. And before too long, they come to Tupelo. So we're excited about that.
Wow. Yeah.
That was information there. But, as my Rolodex and my brain starts going,
you got to keep rolling.
I have to get going, yeah. I blacked out for a second. I forgot. Yeah.
Well, one of my questions for you is, have you consulted your weatherman, Balfour William Ruff III, on the games this weekend? We've got this hurricane that looks like it's going to end up hitting Louisiana maybe like Wednesday evening, nightish, something like that, working its way back up through Mississippi at that point. Has Balfour given you any indication that any of these games might be in danger of getting rained out, or is most of it going to come through the area beforehand? Do you know?
Yeah, the BWR3 weather forecast for Thursday night leading into Friday calls for a lot of sloppy weather. So we're hoping that it all gets out of here by Friday where they can play the games. The issue with getting high school football games is not so much rain and mud. They'll do it. A lot of the schools in the area have turf.
Lightning.
They've kind of gotten to that, but the lightning is the big deal. And for your schools, like, that have your turf fields, like Tupelo be on the road. I think Hernando has grass, but for the schools who have turf, it won't be an issue. But for your teams that have athletes and keep the ball on the ground and they don't put it in the air much, they'll be the ones that kind of, look to succeed this weekend because it's going to be sloppy. Talking about your Kansas Cities, your Pontotocs, people like that. The Corinth North Pontotoc game will be interesting. North Pontoc's got some playmakers. They got the Winfin kid playing quarterback, and I think they got his brother maybe playing tailback. But they play Corinth. Corinth's been the team that's always kept the ball kind of recently on the ground. I think they went for almost like something similar to the Notre Dame box or the Wishbone a few years ago. Based on personnel. And they're changing styles. So I can't speak specifically. I haven't seen them in person this year, but I would expect wet, rain, and football on the ground. Nasty weather.
Yeah. That's about how it goes this time of year here in North Mississippi. So that's not much of a surprise. But hopefully everybody stays safe out there, especially our friends down there on the coast and in Louisiana. As all of that bad weather comes in, just prepare yourselves because it seems pretty imminent that it's going to hit, and then it's going to work its way up the Mississippi River and make its way to North Mississippi, and we'll deal with thunderstorms and stuff like that. I saw where they're giving out possible tornadoes at some point Wednesday night, Thursday, as it started making its way up Mississippi.
Ain't down with that.
So, no, I ain't down with that. So everybody be safe out there, be weather aware, all that good stuff. Make sure to tune into your man Matt Walpon. He's gonna let you know what's happening, I'm sure. So it'll be all over the TV here in the next couple of days. So all right, let's move on to Fish House Friday. First of all, how was it last week for people that didn't tune into the show? How did Highway 41 go for you?
Oh man, 10 out of 10. I mean, if there was possible to give more than that, I'd give more than that. I mean, to quote Billy Bob on Varsity Blues, I give it a 10.
That's right.
10. Man, it was great. Steak there is always pretty good, but this time it was really good. They took care of us. They knew we were there. The place was full, not because of that. It was full anyway, but, they gave us a good room. They kept all the paparazzi out. We were able to lock the door and shut it.
That's nice.
We had a few celebrities of local fame join us. Chris Vandiver, basketball coach at South Pontotoc, a longtime friend of mine. He came and joined us. Funny story, we recounted the first times I ever went to the Fish House was, I think, with him. We used to go there. He lives in Troy. And when he first got a vehicle and he was working for the park commission, lining off baseball fields and edging grass with a shovel on Fridays or Saturdays, we would go over there and get the 24-ounce sirloin. If you can imagine that back then. I know it's a big boy. But we had a good time, man. The steak was great. The fish was good. Myself and Will and Andy were joined, like I said, by Chris. And then our good buddy, Mike Ledbetter.
Great Mike.
Famous or infamous, but great Mike was there. And he's been to the Fish House retirement too. They have the picture on the wall or the poster board on the wall that has the menu on it. Mikey didn't even look at it. He looked at him and said,
"No, you don't need that."
Knew exactly what he needed, man, and it was.
You don't need that menu.
But it was a good time. We'll go back every year. We like to eyeball fish houses in the area that we've never been. So we'll probably check out Ray Ray's sometime this year, which is in Birmingham Ridge, and we go to South Tillow. We've never been to that one. And then, as this group goes with the radio show, we've never, as a group, been to Centerville. So we'll go check out a Mantachi game. And real talk, whereas the Fish House has the best whole catfish in the area, Centerville Fish, they have the best fillets. And it is what it is. Fantastic. It's always been that way. So we'll check those out. We've done the old staples like Kent's and South Tillow. So looking for some fresh blood this year. We've talked about those in week one. This week, we're actually going to forego an actual fish house. We're not going to go to an actual country fish. So we've got a little something different going on. When we reached out to the folks at Hamilton and said, hey, the Hamilton and Boonville game is going to be the Miss 98 Scoreboard Show game of the week. And I hate to call it the game of the week because everybody's got a game of the week. But calling it the game of extreme interest is what I would like to say. We told them we were coming down. They stepped up their tailgate game a little bit. So this week, knowing that we're big Fish House Friday fans, it just kind of worked out that the Hamilton athletics department, Coach Flippo and the crew, are going to do a big-time seafood bowl for us. So we'll have giant crab legs like Jameis Winston would be approving of, and so many shrimps I'll get iodine poisoning, But that's what we got going on, and it's going to be awesome. I'm going to bring a bib and definitely not wear a white shirt or anything like this. And go to town because those are two of my favorite things. I love crab legs and I love shrimp. So cocktail sauce is my favorite kind. So that'll be our Fish House Friday. It's going to be awesome.
Look,
we'll be joined by
a little every now and then.
Yeah, we'll be joined by the entire town of Hamilton. So it'll be a lot of fun.
That's right up Jack Bone's alley too, man. If you want to tell him he's going to have a good time, that's boiling crab legs, boiling shrimp, and just hammering, man. I remember back a long time ago, we were kids. Red Lobster here in Tupelo ran this promotion called Krabby Mondays. Okay. And every Monday night we'd go up there and it was all you could eat crab legs for a certain price, whatever it was. They ended that promotion because of the three Vandy Griff boys. Jack Bone, me, and Jids. We go in there and we would have. They finally quit serving us crab legs. They wouldn't bring any more to the table because they said they were out. And then they're at what's it called, the All American Grill, I think that's at the Hilton Hotel there downtown in Tupelo. They used to do all you could eat shrimp. Go in, you pay $10, all you could eat shrimp with, and they only did this part one time. They let the shrimp go for a few months, but one night they really screwed up and sold 25-cent Bud Light drafts that night with the all you could eat shrimp. That promotion ended that night.
Yeah.
It was a one-time thing, man.
They don't think they're going to lose money, but they do on some folks.
Well, we'll see. Look, and what we did, we broke out the secret weapon. We decided to take my main man, Zach Hand, with us one night. Oh. And, dude, I think he might eat 20 pounds of shrimp himself that night. I mean, he was a machine, couldn't be stopped. But yeah, that didn't last too long. So we are known, the Vandegrift boys are known for putting all-you-can-eat seafood places out of business. Right. That's what we do.
There's a funny comedy bit from the early 90s by one of my favorite comedians, stand-up guys. His name is John Panette. And John Panette was a character actor in like Revenge of the Nerds 3. He had real small parts, but he was a really large, I think he's dead, but I hope he's not. He was hilarious. He was a really large, overweight, chubby white guy who was in his 40s, but he looked like 15 because he was so baby-faced. Mm-hmm. And this is not politically correct, but it is what it is because it's on YouTube. So, but he used to do this bit about himself going to like a Chinese all-you-can-eat buffet. It reminded me of y'all talking about getting kicked out. He's like, the guys would come up, you've been here for an hour. You're so big. You're stereo. And it reminds me,
I've seen that. Yeah.
Like, you got to leave now. You know,
yeah, you got to get out of here, man.
It reminds me of you should Google that. You'll get a big kick out of John Panette Chinese buffet. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'm actually pretty sure that my main man, Great Mike, came with us one night to the All-American Grill for the all-you-can-eat shrimp too. And I mean, to say that we put a hurting on that place is an understatement because it was every Friday night. So every Friday night we were loading up the vehicle and we were driving down there. We were going to pay our $10, eat our shrimp, and then we were going to take our butts home after that. Right. So really good time. Wish I could find another place like that. Obviously, something like that doesn't quite exist anymore. So, all right, Brian, before we wrap this thing up, is there anything else that you have for me today?
Yeah, man, I really enjoyed the Ole Miss game Saturday. It was, we weren't quite as fine-tuned and tight as we were game one. And sometimes that happens. You come out game one, you're really prepared. You've checked all the boxes. Everything is good. You come out game two, you look at a team like MTSU, like I said, a half a step better than Furman. You're going to cover. You know what I mean? The spread. Yeah. But you come out
a little
bit. They did. You come out I was sweating it at the event I was working in Tunica, of all places. Mm-hmm. But it was one of those things like the things I wanted to see happen. Wanted them to run the ball a little bit more imposing of their will, and they did. Henry Parrish, awesome. To quote Steve Buscemi, or to quote Adam Sandler from, I guess, Billy Madison over by Steve Buscemi, man, am I glad we called that guy. Thank God he's back. You know what I mean? He adds another element to the room. He left looking like a little scat back. He's come back looking like an NFL roster type guy, a guy who could put on third downs and play a little bit, picking up blitzes.
He's bulked up some. Like he just from the eye test, he looks better.
He is, and there are little things that we really need, really got to clean up. And it's kind of like first drive. We drove down the field, and then Trey Harris wasn't set on a play. We get in illegal formation, got to kick a field goal. Like against Georgia. That has to be 7. Against Mississippi State, that has to be 7. Against, Arkansas, that has to be 7. Like against anybody
in the SEC,
against Wake Forest, it needs to be 7. I remember when we lost to Wake Forest, we took our butts all the way to Winston-Salem and got beat one time. It might have been, I don't know, was it Freeze or Luke? It was since you and I have been pals.
That would have been the Houston Nut era, actually, because they actually came back to Oxford
and we beat them
next
year
and kicked our butts. When they came to Oxford, I'm pretty sure that was the last year of Ed Orgeron, because I think that's when we had a 3-hour weather delay. We were all sitting in the stands in the stadium.
It was terrible.
And that's when Orgeron put them through a full contact scrimmage during the rain delay before the actual game in the IPF. Yeah. I think that was Wake Forest. Was
Riley Skinner their quarterback or something like that?
Oh, that does sound right.
It sounds right. But I look forward to this week because it's a legit squad. It's a Power 4 conference team. I think we're minus 24. I'd love to see us play really well and bust that number open. the thing now this week is what we've been doing defensively. I don't think they'll be able to stop us. I mean, we'll have people running free, unless you're one of the top 20 teams in the country. Keeping up with us for 4 quarters defensively, good luck. It's a problem. But offensively, I don't want them to get – I hate to see a team get in the 30s. I don't want a shootout. I want it to be a one-sided shootout. Us just making it rain. The other team going 3 and out. Us getting turnovers. That's what I want. And I want to see it this week. We played well. We got a little banged up in the last game. I know it kind of worries me a little bit. But I want to see Cade Priestcorn. I would love to see a 2-touchdown day. That guy is a pro. He really is.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
He really is. They were really upset at Memphis when they lost him. Imagine if they had him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's the kind of guy, much like the bowl game. He's that X factor that you don't need until you need. And when the first 2 games, we got everybody running wide open, holes for running backs in game 2 to go through. This game, when the other squad's a little bit tighter, when the players are a little bit better, and they're playing with you into the second quarter, into the third quarter, look for a guy like him to bust loose. Look for a 7-8 catch game, a touchdown, maybe even a long one, because he catches it in the open field. He's athletic enough to get to the end zone. So I look forward to that. And, maybe his breakout this week. He's a pro. Everybody knows it. And I'd like to see that happen this week. Keep Dart clean. I hope there's a game where Austin Simmons is in and he's doing his thing because we're up and Dart's got what he needs to get.
That's right. Yeah. That's always my biggest thing right now. The thing I'm going to say every single week until we get to that Kentucky game is get in, win, and get out healthy, right? And most importantly, keep number 2 clean. We've got to keep him upright. A lot of big games coming up later on this year, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Look, last week you had an Ole Miss trivia question for me. Do you have one for me this week? Are we going to end the show on that again?
I do, man. I got one for you. I got 3 animals here trying to go nuts, so pardon me if you see a cat on my shoulder. Oh, no, there's Eve. Hey, Eve. Say hey.
What's up, Eve?
Say hey. She's sweet, Eve. Yeah, she's sweet.
Okay.
Murray's terrorizing the other cat. But all right, here's my question before I wrap it up here.
All right.
In 2003 versus LSU, in a critical moment in the fourth quarter with the game on the line, what offensive guard stepped on Eli Manning's foot while pulling out from under center?
It was actually the left tackle, Doug Buckles.
Doug Buckles. Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah.
Doug Buckles. That was it.
He absolutely single-handedly the best high school footage I've ever seen from a high school recruit. He was literally blocking 3 guys at a time in high school. I thought he was the greatest player I'd ever seen in my entire life because we were really into recruiting back then. But yeah, that was Mr. Doug Buckles, though, left tackle. Great player, terrible moment in that situation, though.
Yeah, the only thing he blocked that day was us getting to Atlanta.
That's right, him and Jonathan Nichols.
Hey, I got a story about him another day. I used to play Little League baseball against him on that baseball team that I was with Michael Spurlock. I could have told you that was coming. He's got to strike out with the game on the line. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm about to say, at least when he's on the baseball team with you, at least he's hitting instead of kicking in the big moment.
Sure.
He's
on the other squad.
There, so, yeah. All right, Ryan, look, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, y'all be careful this weekend. Have a lot of fun. Eat a lot of crab legs and shrimp and all that. And I'll be back on your show again. Usually around 11 o'clock I call in. Brian tricked me last week, thought I really messed up at some point while I was talking about Mississippi State.
You
had something slip that probably shouldn't have. Luckily it didn't because I was very conscious about it because it's something I say all the time when I pair that word with state. But came out clean there. So that's a good thing. But y'all can hear me there at 11 o'clock. And Brian, y'all show starts, 9:30 on Miss 98?
9:30 on Miss 98, 97.5 on your radio dial at MS98, Miss98.net on the internet. And then we got the app. So check us out.
Great app.
From 9:30 to 11, we do high school sports calls from coaches and media and report the news. And then at 11 o'clock, man, we talk college sports. We talk lines, gambling lines, stuff like that. We take calls from awesome folks like you, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Try to keep up with California Chad, see what he's been up to, stuff like that. So yeah, the app's really good. That's what I use though. It runs perfectly. Never skips, buffers, anything like that. So if you don't have access to a radio, I know you have access to a phone. Download the Miss 98 app, and you can listen to everything right there. Like I said, 9:30 to 11. They do a really great job with the show. It's incredibly entertaining. You have no idea you have sat there for an hour and a half listening to three guys talk about high school football. So if you have any interest in it whatsoever, you would absolutely love them. And then if you're not a high school football fan, you're still going to love the show because of the content these guys bring. They're really talented. They do a really good job. Great music too, by the way, coming out of breaks. That's
this week we got some jams
for me.
Yeah, we got some jams coming this week. We take requests. Folks been sending me stuff in my DMs they want to hear. We've had folks trying to prep their calls with songs. So when Coach Harden calls in, I play "Wave on Wave" by Pat Green. He's Tupelo coach, just stuff like that.
That's right. All right, buddy. Well, look, I appreciate you doing this once again, and look forward to hearing y'all again on Friday night, and look forward to seeing you right back here next Tuesday on the show.
Awesome. You're the man, little fat dids. Take care. Love you, brother. Hotty toddy.